All right, go.
Next, you'll have to take the screws out of the trays on the top where we can raise them up to get the lower cover out. All right, once the screws are removed, you should have enough room to lift up the rear one of the charger and flip it around up here on the rear rack. And then you'll want to reach down here and disconnect these two. And then there's two more clamps in the rear. And then you'll want to raise the other one up where you can get the cover over the chassis block. And then you slide the cover out. With a 14mm wrench, you'll disconnect the battery connections. Off. Alright, you just put the new charger in the bottom, route your wires through the grommet in the back, and you're ready to set the unit back on top. Set it up here. Then you take your cables. This battery charger is a 12 volt and a 12 volt. It's not a 24 volt, so there's no need to put it in series. So all you do is you take one lead and you connect it, the negative to the negative terminal on the battery, the positive to the positive terminal on one battery. The same with the other side, as I will show you. You also have to put the jumper from one battery to the other back on the front. The jumper goes back this way right here. Put the rear positive, and then your positive lead going to the controller. Positive on the positive. With your jumper cable. Then the negative back here on the negative, with the negative cable going to the controller. Then you just want to make sure everything is connected and tight. Put your protective boots back over the studs. And then basically you just reverse your steps on disassembly to assemble it back. You will Take your tray, turn it around, set it back in its location. Then you want to route your cables up to the center. Then you'll want to zip tie one here and one over here in front of the hole, and I'll show you that. The cable's at the center between the batteries right here. Then I'll pull this cable back in here, the extra slack back into the box, and I'll pull this cable up here and put one more zip tie here to hold it in location. And then the job is complete. You just have to put your screws back in your trays, and I'll show you that now. All right, when you're reinstalling the battery cover, you want to be very careful and watch to make sure you don't snag or hang any of the wires underneath here. And there's also a cable that goes down to the brake on the rear motor, and you want to be sure you don't catch it. It's right here. Because if you snag it, it can pull out of the pins, and then the vehicle will not move. Everything seems to be in place. Just raise the rear fenders up, connect here. And the same on the other side. And then the two fronts. And that's it on the cover. Everything's good there, and then we're ready to put the screws back into the top trays. Just line them back up with the original holes and reinstall your screws. Don't tighten them all until you get them all in first. That way you can still wiggle it around if you need to get your holes lined up properly. Then you just snug them down, and that's it. Prior to sliding the chassis back in, you probably want to lube it, and we put some lube here on it, and all you do is just slide it back together. And then you might want to look under the bottom to make sure that the wiring harness is secured up under the bottom. You may have to put another zip tie to raise it up from stretching it out. And that's all there is to it.